Hi, I'm joined this morning by Willie Peter Schaub and Henk du Plessis, two of the MVPs in the South African community that I've been engaging on around the topic of interoperability. My name is Paulo Ferreira, I'm Platform Strategy Manager at Microsoft. And interoperability is a topic which is on everyone's mind, and people are discussing it quite often these days. So I'm going to direct my first question to Henk. And Henk, why is it that interoperability is being discussed so often these days? Why is it important?
I think, Paulo, to start off with, layman's term, interoperability to me means the stuff just works. I'm running at work, I'm running a Linux notebook. Willie is running his Windows notebook. We've got a Team Foundation server. I have to see work items. Interoperability means to me that I can, on my Linux workstation, link up with Team Foundation server, get my info out of it with no problem. And I think it's become more and more of an issue around what we see today in business, is where we've got business running mainframes, running Unix, running Linux, running Windows, and we have to get to a point where those can talk to each other seamlessly, and not having to, where developers are not spending time to make things work together, but where it's built in and it just works.
Okay. So, Willie, in your view, how would you define interoperability?
In my view, as Henk says, it's really making the solutions work today, and it's going back to the 80s. In the 80s we had interoperability, so it's nothing new. We always had to integrate systems, we always had to work with a variety of vendor solutions, and I think today we're just more open in actually talking about the various technologies. The kind of purist view, the radical views are disappearing, and we're more openly embracing interoperability, i.e. using the right technology, the right tool for the solution at the end of the day.
So let me come back to you, Henk. What should customers be looking at when procuring solutions, and what interoperability criteria should they take into account?
I think what clients must look at is first the vendor. How serious is the vendor about interoperability? What standards are used? Are they using open standards? When we talk where different systems are talking to each other, it's always very important to use open standards, because if we've got open standards, we've got open communication. And open communication means that your systems can work together. And I think that's the most important thing, is adhering to open standards and adhering to standards in the way you do stuff.
Are open standards the only way to achieve interoperability?
Not necessarily. I think you can also, if you're developing systems, have an interface available for other people to get into your systems. Let's talk about Samba. To get from myself into a Windows environment, I use Samba. Samba gives me access to the whole Windows environment. So I expect that when Microsoft is doing some development around their file systems and networking, that the Samba team has got the information and the tools to be able to access the Windows environment, and vice versa. When there's development on Linux and Linux systems, that Windows has got access to the tools and the APIs that's necessary to access the Linux systems.
Excellent. So, Willie, Henk spoke about something which is really important, which is access to the standards, access to APIs. Microsoft recently announced the Microsoft Interoperability Principles. I'm sure you're familiar with them. How have the interoperability principles enabled yourselves, enabled developers, enabled people that are ensuring that these applications integrate and peacefully coexist with each other? How have they actually benefited?
It's like the open standards. The question you asked just now is, have open standards helped us? In a way, it is helping us, because we're getting the buy-in from the vendors, likes of Microsoft. We're slowly moving the responsibility back to the vendors. So with Microsoft supporting us in terms of the principles, actually showing active involvement in open standards and interoperability, that's where we see the main benefit of the principles, of the guidance coming out. And also the interoperability events we've been running, like with Microsoft, it's just showing us that Microsoft, and in this case Microsoft South Africa, is finally willing to embrace interoperability. Something that, for example, the Microsoft teams back at Corp have been doing for a very long time. Now in South Africa it's taken a while, but we're getting there, and it's exciting because
it's a step in the right direction.
Yes.
I'm sure I agree with you. So, I mean, in your recent projects, give me an idea of some interoperability scenarios and some challenges which you guys have had. I know you've been involved in a number of different projects. So give me an example of one which comes to the top of your mind where you've had specific issues and difficulty. Think about the demo that you guys showed at the Interop MVP event.
Well, in terms of challenges, we had immense challenges in the past because we did not have the tools, all the principles, as you mentioned, all the open standards. The challenges have actually started to evaporate. Things like Windows Communication Foundation with the WS Star standards being embraced, it's just made it so easy for us to now embrace interoperability as a solution provider. So the challenges are actually slowly but surely evaporating. And we suddenly have the likes of Henk joining our team, and we are a very team system focused team, and he's not running Microsoft at all. He is running open source OS, he's running open source tools, and he's part of our family.
And Henk, do you believe that the world can peacefully coexist, these different systems?
Of course it can. I always say to Willie, you know what, the prerequisite for coming to our Interop events that we're running is have an open mind. I think what's happening is the fanaticals are slowly disappearing to the left and the right, and I think logic is taking over, and we're realizing that this we have to coexist. And when you ask about the challenges now, there wasn't real challenges because it's been made so easy now. I can use a web browser to access Team Foundation service. So I think the challenges are, there's still some out there, but I think we've got to, as I said to Willie, we're living in exciting times now, because now we're starting to coexist, now we're starting to talk.
It is exciting indeed. What have the MVPs been doing around interoperability? I know both of you spoke about the Interop event that you did with Microsoft, and you invited the community. What else has been happening, and where can people get more information should they wish to get do some more research around interoperability?
Well, I think starting off with the Interop events, we went down to the Cape Town and Rhodes universities to show the students there that your fellow student there is running Linux, you running Microsoft. Don't think of it as separate entities, think of it as one. Because when you go into business, our clients ask us to make these things work. And you are not going to be a pure Microsoft or pure Linux environment person, not if you get into real business. In the enterprise, there's going to be a mix, there's going to be flavors, and we try and do that at the student level already. So when they come out of university, they're familiar with these kind of things. Websites?
Well, in terms of the students, we're obviously addressing the students at the moment because they have a lot of passion, and they've got open minds. And we're trying to convince the lecturers, which at times don't have open minds, that they should have, because there is no
different development tools and environments, right?
Yeah. So basically, what we're involved in, we had a chat yesterday about what the MVPs are doing with academia. Is we're really going to the universities and helping them embrace all technologies, make team system work in the university with Java environments, with you name whatever they have environments. They've got a lot of stuff there, and they can make it all work. Where they can find more information, obviously the community sites that we were hosting in South Africa, which is SA Developer, SA Architect, or talk to any of the MVPs. I think the first step should be find your MVPs in your area and ask them on site. So if you're a university, call us. We will engage, get involved, right? And we'll actually come and share the information we have and share the passion, because I think there's a lot of passion in interoperability these days.
Because I think it's very important to lay that foundation at the university. Live together. It's very important. Coexist.
Thank you for the brief chat this morning, gentlemen. Interoperability is definitely something which I'm coming across quite often in my environments, and it was really pleasing to have this discussion with you, and thank you for the efforts that you guys are doing around ensuring that the MVP community, that developers, that people out there understand and get what interoperability is all about. Thanks once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
With that, again, I'd just like to highlight the importance of interoperability. It comes up quite often in my discussions when I'm dealing with CIOs, CTOs, people in private and public sector. I'd encourage you all to take a look at Microsoft's definition, how we're getting involved in interoperability. Remember, we look at interoperability, and the way that we define it is connecting people to their data in diverse systems. And for more information, I encourage you to go to microsoft.com/interop to get all the information that you would want around Microsoft's interoperability initiatives.